Alright. See how we're looking. Alright. See how we're looking. Alright. See how we're looking. Alright. Okay, sounds fun. I still got the wrong date though. 19th, yeah. All right. Is everything sounding all right? Hello? Hello? Okay, yeah, we're fine. All right. What's going on, folks? Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. Tastes kind of weird. I'll be back in 1 second. All right. How you guys doing? What's up, Andy? Thanks for tuning in, homie. What's good, Limitless? Hope you guys are having a good start to your weeks. I'm not gonna lie, I got out of bed like 30 minutes ago. Gotta love that crypto sleep cycle. I think a couple weeks ago I was getting up at like 8 p.m. Oh, Lord. What am I going to do with myself? All right, so you know the drill. We'll give it a few minutes here. Then we'll get started on BTC. We can look at a few high caps like Woo, maybe dYdX, MATIC, Lido, stuff like that. And then we can go look at some shit coins. Ones I've got pulled up that I like: WASDER, Revest, Ordinal BTC, and Ordinex. We can look at whatever you guys want to. Rough weekend. I just crawled out of bed. Man, I could sleep 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 hours, and I still feel the same getting out of bed. I want to be one of those people who opens their eyes and they're just like awake, like a freaking crackhead. You open your eyes like, and they're bloodshot, but you're like super zoned in and shit. Oh my gosh. Anyways, y'all gotta watch me for my my sailor mouth here. You gotta let me know if I'm if I'm swearing a lot. Trying to be more professional, CEO of Blockcircle here, guys. Trying to be more professional, kid-friendly streams. So we're trying to set up all pussies allowed. All right, that's the last one. That's the last one. It's the last one. Basil's watching this video like, you can't say that, man. You can't say that, man. Well, here we are. All right. Anyways, let's just go ahead and get right into it here. So, as you guys know, monthly still looks really solid. We've got a little overhead here, EMA wise, that we're gonna see on the weekly too, that we're still working with. So clearly a difference. As good as this looks right here, clearly a difference in market structure and EMA structure from this versus this. You know, we're kind of more like, we could literally be right here, right before some shit like this. Now, ideally not, and I hope not, simply because that's gonna suck for a couple months. But then, you know, after that, we're done. We don't have to ape up here. We can ape like here. So, you know, nice discount there, if that's what we're getting. And I guess that would indicate a dip back towards like 18 to 16K. And I'm not saying that necessarily we get that, but just pointing out that market structure wise, EMA wise, we've still got a bit of a tiff to get through here. And we can see that as well on the monthly with the 21, the 30, the 15, whatever. This little cluster of EMAs here. Don't mind my cute burp. You ain't hear nothing. But anyways, we are trending above the 8 EMA for the first time since, I believe, $70,000. And the 8 EMA has started to rise too. Now, we'd really like to see, you know, in the next few months, we'd like to see this 8 EMA get back above all these moving averages. Okay, so once we do that, and price on lower time frames is continuing some structure of this sort, right? Then things are looking really, really solid for the long term. Okay. You know, there's a few key areas we're watching, right? This area I just talked about here, which is basically like our little range high, as well as weekly EMA resistance. And then you've got this cluster of wicks from July of 2021 or June or whatever. And then, you know, you could outline the last little higher low we had before bull market kind of ended. Okay, so those are kind of our big three zones that we're looking at. So highest upside target for me, at least in the intermediate term, is around 32K. I think it's going to be a bit tricky, at least on our first push, to get through that in one go. If we look at some VWAPs here, we've also got the previous year VWAP and the standard deviation on each side of that. The top end of that is around 32K as well. And the big level I'm watching the short term is this 23.7K level, right? That's the previous year's VWAP. The average price Bitcoin was at all of 2022, if you weight it by volume. So that's a big key level. You can see we messed around with it over here a lot, and we're finally through it and holding above it. So we want to continue to do that to get expansion towards 32K. And you can see down here, that lower end of what we're talking about here, around 16K. That's kind of the more bearish scenario if we go like 2015-esque. Because you can see we got back above, we got back above the 8 EMA, just barely, back here too. And then we could not quite get above the rest of the bands. But once we did, like here, things were back golden. And that's kind of what we're working through here right now. You know, we just barely closed above the 8. But unlike that last time, we actually got continuation the next month. So I would say things look better than they did in 2015. But, you know, still got to be cautious. But anyways, these are the key levels we're watching on the lower time frames. So it'll be 25.5, right around 30K, and then like 32 to 34. Okay. I bombed the toilet and it's in the emergency room. This man just nuked the building. So anyways, monthly is almost completely good. We want to get above this cluster of EMAs, but we're above the 8. The cycle is rising and momentum has returned in the bull's favor. Now I will say, another thing we really want to see is, and it's going to take some time probably, we want momentum to get back above this 0 line. Okay, so what we have so far is an uptick in that we've had momentum falling pretty drastically, and it kind of works like a market cycle. You know, cycles go like this, right? They ebb and flow, and that's kind of the same way with momentum, right? It ebbs and it flows, and it oscillates around zero. Well, when we get expansion above zero, things are looking extremely good for the bulls, and when we get expansion below zero, things are looking extremely bad for the bulls. So we're aiming up now, and so that's a good upside, but we'd really like to be trading above zero. You can see the majority of the good runs in a bull market are happening when momentum is above that zero line. So those are the last two things we're really looking for in the monthly to be like completely golden, is momentum above zero. And if you want to know what zero is, I'm just using it's the T3 CCI, but it's really just a CCI, the commodity channel index with a period of 31. That's all that really matters. And then I've turned on, I use a histogram, so it looks like this, but you can use a line, if that's what you like. I just feel like this is kind of harder to pinpoint and look right at, so I prefer the histogram. So above zero on that, and then cleared above really like 30K, right? 30K, I mean, on the weekly, we'll see it's kind of closer to like 26K, but 30K for the last EMA on the weekly, which, is that going to be big major resistance? Who knows, but whatever. What do you think about wifey's bear market rally thesis? Calling for local top before puke. That's kind of one of the other scenarios I'm looking at, right? And I mentioned that before, either on last stream or the last video update. We could push towards like 26K, and a lot of people that have not really bought yet, they will consider that a valid, like, major breakout, and people are gonna long the shit out of that. And so, I'm not gonna go into that, but you can use. You don't really need market flow. I was gonna say you can use market flow to watch, and when we trade above these prices, if you see a bunch of fresh longs piling in, that could be a sign. Longs that are not piling in at support, they're piling in right above resistance. If you see that coming in, and then we get back below this key pivot from August, and some big sellers start to appear, we could just get wrecked for a few months, right? So many people will get cozy above this little breakout zone here. And so, yeah, I could definitely see that happening, but I don't know. I don't put that much emphasis on wifey. I think, doesn't that guy have like 4 alt accounts? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to talk shit about the guy, but I don't know. It's just, it's not what I'm looking at as a main scenario, but that's totally possible. And that's why, I wanted to do that comparison back to 2015, because I think a lot of people are expecting this to go one of two ways. Either we just rip up or we just kind of sideways in here. But we could definitely retest back down deep in this area. And, people will say the bear market's back on and this or that. But once we do something like that, if that happens, let's say we go up, we nuke, make a lower high, nuke, lower high, nuke, whatever, chop, 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 breakout, nuke, some stuff like that. When this downtrend does end, right, we will then have a close above the monthly 8, a nice push up to EMA resistance, an intermediate term downtrend, and then let's say, I know it's kind of mucky here, but I'll just get rid of it. This 8 EMA will be coming like this, right, like this, like this, like that. If we do our little downtrend and then we get back above the monthly 8 EMA, that is going to be an extremely high confidence long for me. So while that might mean a few shitty months of pain, I think for the long term, it would actually be very healthy. But I don't know. I'm kind of more expecting for this to just keep going up. I mean, I think I'm not going to say up is max pain. I think down hard is always max pain for the most part. But right now, I'm not seeing that much euphoria on the feed. I mean, I don't know about your guys' social media feeds, but I definitely still see more like sideliners and stablecoin guys and bears than I'm seeing like euphoric bulls. I got plenty of people on my feed that are long, but no one's like crazy euphoric yet. As far as I'm seeing, maybe I'm not following the people that have been destroying it or something, but I'm definitely seeing more bears and people on the sidelines waiting for the big dip, right? Versus people that are just like absolutely euphoric right now. In addition to that, in 3.5 hours, we're going to close a BCI on the weekly. And in my trading model, BCIs, and if you don't know what they are, I'll just do a simple example. Right, a BCI is a bearish candle ignored or a bullish candle ignored. And essentially, when you have candles going in one way, whatever the trend may be, right, and then you have a candle that tries to invalidate that trend. And this can be one candle, it can be a set of candles, 1, 2, right? They're trying to reverse this trend. And then when you get a candle that closes above that, then that completely invalidates this attempted reversal. 9 times out of 10, this candle, the BCI itself, gets follow through on the next candle. It might not be a giant, but 9 times out of 10, a BCI will get at least one candle after that goes higher than this BCI itself. So I could totally see us closing the BCI here and then running the stops of this level and then coming back down and, retesting the mid 22Ks. Of course, the more, what Wifey is talking about, the more bearish alternative is that, we fail here or we run the highs and we nuke and we don't keep making higher lows, right? We make a lower high and then we puke here. I'm guessing that's what he's talking about. I used to follow the guy. I don't know if I follow him anymore just because his posts come up so much and I don't know. It was not really helping me at all. I didn't feel like I was getting any useful information from it. So I stopped following him, but I'm imagining he's talking something about like this. And he takes over a V, dude. And, I'm sure he's trading Grail. I'm sure he's had good profits. It's a little too much for me. But I imagine that's something he's talking about. Also want to point out, we're trending below the 200 moving average still, which for me is not an end all be all, but for a lot of traders, there's a big confidence boost when you're trending above the 200, and I feel like people are more likely to ape on dips. And this is the first time ever that Bitcoin has trended below the weekly 200 period moving average for a significant period of time. Right? Like we have trended above it since Bitcoin started, right? We held it perfectly 2015. We held it perfectly 2018, and we held it pretty much perfectly with a little wiggle room down to pi thanks to COVID in 2020. And now for the first time, we've had a significant trend below it. So if we can get back above it, the higher you go on time frame, this is going to start to look like a deviation below the main trend. The main trend being like this, right? This is going to start to look like a little deviation below it if we can get above like really $30,000. So just another thing to point out. But anyways, let's just do one last little look at the weekly and then we'll zoom into the daily. Things look decent here. Definitely want to have taken some profits, obviously, on these pushes up, right? It's good to be a de-risker when you get, personal euphoria, right? If you're feeling like you made a lot of money, if you didn't make that much in the bear, like I didn't really do that much from May to December, right? Had a lot of losses here, but then kind of stagnated and just didn't really do that much. Had a couple nice trades like on the Solana short and stuff like that. But for the most part, the last month and a half, and really for me, the last few weeks have been much better than the 6 months before it. So you definitely would like to take some profits to the bank or to stables or whatever you want to do. If you trust stables, you can go with that. But take something off the plate. And that way, if we do get that retest of the 22s, if we somehow get this retest of 18, 17, 16K, that very dramatic 2015-esque dump like this, it'd be nice to have some capital. You don't have to puke all the bags you have now. If you're holding the bags you have now for the bull market or whatever, that's fine. But it'd be nice to average down on some of those or to start a couple of new bags if we get a dump like so. Okay? And so that'll probably go into the start of the summer. And then we'll do some really boring consolidation or something probably. I imagine when this nice move is over, whether it's here, 26K, 30K, whatever, what will follow will likely be extremely boring. You know, heartbeat monitor-esque, right? Like, extremely boring. So, you know, who knows what that'll look like exactly. You know, I don't know if it'll be as dramatic as this, but I imagine it's all going to lead into a strong rally before and after the Bitcoin halving in 2024, right? That's really the next big catalyst. I mean, I guess that's not really true. Like, you have the Shanghai upgrade coming for Ethereum. There's plenty of catalysts for altcoins out the ass. But for Bitcoin, as far as I'm concerned, the next big, like, market-wide shifting event is Bitcoin halving in 2024, which I think is in March to June or something like that. And if we outline the previous ones, which I believe was... I'm about to sneeze, hold on. Oh, sorry about that. I believe the last one was in... It was either May or July. It's some point in here. I think it was May. Was the last Bitcoin halving, and then previously was July, right here. And then before then, I think it was... You can't really even tell. I think it was somewhere in here, right? So both those times, we get a nice run up, or all three times, we get a nice run up into the halving, okay? And then we chop. Oh, people say, oh, the halving was priced in. Ah, shit, the bull market's over. Like, I thought halving was supposed to be July 21st and July 22nd. We're supposed to rip to 50K. Like, I think the same thing will happen. Whatever happens up until then, you know, we will push, you know, whether we go up and then down, or whether we go up and then up, or whether we go just straight down or whatever. I think there will be a push into this date, and then a sideways push after, and then the mega pump, right? And these dates are obviously, you know, all kind of speculation, but push up into halving, sideways after, rip after that. That's the main idea that I'm looking at. Will it happen like it's happened previously? I don't know, but for now, I'm going to go expecting that it will. All right. Hold on. I better sneeze again. I've just found out something recently, moderately tragic, that I think I'm allergic to cats and dogs, dudes. Oh, I literally never had, like, sinus problems and sneezing all the time and blowing my nose all the time. Like, you guys ever use a damn box of tissues? And I'm not talking about for you. No, I'm talking about, like, actually blowing your nose. You guys ever think about how long it takes you to go through a box of tissues? Weeks, months. Bro, I've been going through a box of tissues in like 2 days because I always gotta blow my damn nose. And I think it's my animal, dude. I never had it until I got animals like 5 or 6 years ago. So that sucks, dude. I want to have like 10 dogs someday, but absolutely tragic. Anyways, just babbling. So nothing more to say on the weekly. Again, these are the main scenarios I'm looking at are accumulation in this like region above 23.5K, and then expansion, or a slight push up followed by a nuke and more chop, and then that chop either leads to a push higher, right, or a new kind of downtrend, something like this. You know, we'll just have to take it one day at a time if that happens, or we just keep chopping in this little range for a very long time until, like, I don't know, June, July, something like that. I think chop would be really painful for like Bitcoin maximalists who just want Bitcoin to rip, but chop for Bitcoin can be extremely good for altcoins, right? You know, because while Bitcoin will be doing this, you'll have altcoins that are doing big move up, big nuke when Bitcoin dumps, and then big rip up, recovery, crazy recovery, then big nuke when Bitcoin dumps, and so on and so forth. You can be getting this in altcoins while Bitcoin's not even really doing anything. But anyways, those are the main scenarios I'm looking at on the weekly. The weekly cycle is getting a little bit high, so I could definitely see a cycle down. That doesn't necessarily mean that price will do the exact same thing, but I could definitely see it cooling off you know, something like that or something like this, right? As this cycle comes down, right? And he's going to talk about it again. He's going to talk about previous cycles, guys. Here he goes. That's basically what happened back here, right? We rolled over. Oopsies. We rolled over into the bands. People bought the new high, the local high, the breakout, whatever. Weekly cycle rolled over. We got back below the 8 EMA on the monthly, and then, or on the weekly, sorry, and then we just puked. And then the cycle got nice and low again. Right? We had a nice bottoming tail setup. We ran a bunch of stops in here. And then we got, with this uptick, we got momentum reversion. The cycle was rising. And on that uptick in momentum, we closed back above the weekly 8. That is this really nice long scenario that I'm talking about. This would suck, for sure. But this would be really nice, right? You know, this is a huge move, and this could just be the start of a multi-year bull market. So, even if we puke, guys, I think things still look really nice. Message held for review. Why are they holding messages? I don't care if people swear in the chat. You can get allergy shots? Oh, you gotta go every week? Well, here's hoping technology improves at a ridiculously drastic rate in the coming years, so I can just do that once a year or something. I wouldn't mind getting a shot once a year if it helped my allergies. But every week, dude, I think I'll just buy another box of tissues. But anyways, this is the bearish kind of outlook that I'm looking at, because we got to look at both sides of it. I mean, as much as I think that we continue going up towards 32K, we should still be prepped for if it doesn't. And that's really what my way of trading comes down to, which is just if, then, right? Simple as that. If this happens, then we do this. If this happens, we do this. And then what most likely happens is not one of the ifs you prepped for. Usually it'll be different than you actually prep, because it doesn't always go exactly as planned. But at least then you have ideas of what you're going to do regardless of what happens. You know? All right, let's go ahead and zoom into the daily. Oh, I also want to point out, just because some of our indicators are getting overbought, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to just puke right after it. You know, we got overbought here at 18K, and then by the time it actually rolled over, we were at 40K. And by the time price actually started to roll over too, which happened with the second cross here, we had hit almost 70K. So just getting overbought does not mean time to sell it all, right? We still want to watch the actual price action. You know, this uptrend never breaks. There's no reason to really be super cautious until over here. All right, let's look at the daily, because the daily's starting to look a little bit sketchy right now. Okay, we want to watch for, if we're looking at something like that intermediate term pullback, not necessarily towards down here, but even just towards like 21, you'll watch for us losing this 8 EMA on the daily, watch for a stochastic cycle crossing over, and watch for a downtick in momentum on the daily. And that could indicate that this little trend we're in here, which if you look at, you know, looks something like this or whatever, is starting to roll over, right? Once you start to break, if you're in a lot of short-term positions, you know, like you've been taking the MATIC long with me, Ethereum long, whatever, might want to just step to the sidelines on that and wait and see if we actually hold at this previous region, or if we're going to re-enter this kind of nasty range down here, right? If we do that, then I think erring on the side of caution is really going to be the move. All right, anyways, daily looks solid. Things we don't want to see is a close back below previous year's VWAP. Okay, because more often than not, that indicates that we're going to be heading towards the standard deviation below the VWAP, which right now is at 15.5. Yeah, pretty gross. There's plenty of levels in between. I'm not saying that if we get below 23.7, we're definitely going to 15K. But big picture, as long as we can't remain above 23.7, that is the outlook. Hold on. It sounded like some kid was screaming bloody murder outside. Holy crap. But anyways, the flip side of that is, as long as we're above 23.7K, the target is 32. Okay, so we'll just outline these big levels. I think it was somewhere in here. What was it? I'll get it exact. 15.6, 31.8. So we'll outline those. Those are the big levels on the higher time frame. Okay. Right, so VWAP and then a standard deviation on either side. And then we can also look at, zooming in, the quarterly, right? And the quarterly, as long, again, as we're staying, when you, let me use this as an example. When you're inside, this is what we call a value area. When you're inside, you tend to move from VWAP to value area, VWAP to value area, stuff like that. But when you get outside of the value area, I'd say 8 times out of 10, you're going to expand in the direction that you broke out of, right? If you break out above this level and retest it, probably going to be going up. If you break out below it and retest it, probably going to continue going lower. And, there's plenty of examples of this happening. Here's one example back here, right? We got above this 20K value area, retested it here, and we kept on pushing. And so far, that has kind of broken, right? And then we got back above 23.7K. And now as long as we remain kind of above there, things look really good. But if we lose that, at the least, I think we're coming back to these kind of range lows around 21.5 to 22. And then if we can't hold that, the next level is a previous quarterly high, that one we broke back here at 20K, which is around 19.8. So let's outline 21.7. Let's put it in teal for the quarterly levels. And I think it was 19.8. 19.8 would also line up with the 200 on the daily. And this quarterly level, 21.8, would line up with the bands on the daily. So I think if we lose 23.7 in this daily 8 EMA, I think you definitely just err on the side of caution, right? Play it cool. If we get back down here, nibble on the spot side, right? Nibbling on leverage on the first move down is always tricky because this is probably going to get run. And if that gets run, I think there's a good chance it gets double run. But then when you reclaim, you can start to hit the leverage with a tight stop if that's what you're about. Okay? But, we really want to stay above 23.7, right? The strongest part of this bull, little echo bubble, right? This part comes if we hold above 23.7. If we get back below it, we can just keep ranging in this range, or we can enter, kind of back into this range here, right? So let's just keep all that in mind. Ooh, I want to keep that. No. All right, those are the big levels we're looking at. So my game plan, definitely want to take some profits if we get a push up here towards 26, right? In the form of, I'll probably sell out some Ethereum into 1800 if we get there, and sell out some MATIC if we get towards like 175-ish up here. Okay, that's the current game plan for those two trades. And then I've got a small BTC long as well, and basically the same game plan. If we get towards 25.8, 26K, probably going to TP that on the leverage side, just hold spot. See where we go from there. Potentially at 23.7, could be a nice chance to add to longs here on the 4 hour, right? We got the bands here. And I remember this. This reminds me very much of two situations. Let's go to Bitstamp for this. First one is the consolidation before we made new highs back in 2020. I remember pushing up to this high, people getting really bullish, right? You had, bullish consolidation. And then this had people so bearish. Just this was so bearish. This is what I'm talking about. Nibble spot. You're chilling out. You're not worried because you're not aping on leverage. You just nibble in spot, nibble spot. Oh, I'm about to sneeze again, dude. Excuse me. And then when you get the trend reversion, right? This little downtrend. When that fixes itself, and here, that's when you can start to ape on leverage with risk back below the local low. So that's the vibe I'm getting right now, as well as 2019 vibes from both in here as well as in here, right? It feels like the kind of same structure. And this is probably what the idea Wifey's getting at, right? This would be that push to 26K. This would be that big puke before we push higher. Or like this. This is the push to 26K. And this pukes before we go higher. Either way, if we re-enter a new downtrend, you know, like this, or like this, you just play it cool, man. You can nibble on stuff if you like the discounts. You know, your profits from the run up, you can slowly start to put in. Or you just wait. You don't have to do anything. And then when the trends reverse, right, in here, or even just in here in this consolidation, or in here, or in this consolidation, then you have some more defined risk, and you can start to ape on the leverage side of things if that's what you're about. So those are the kind of three situations that this looks like to me. This consolidation in 2019, this consolidation in 2019, and then the consolidation right before the breakout to new highs. Also, kind of gives vibes of DeFi summer, right? You know, this being 26K, right? And this being the intermediate term downtrend that comes after that. Oops. Right? And then when that downtrend is over, right? Same thing. Hit the consolidation, go hard. This is a little bit of a trickier one, right? This upwards accumulation, at least for me, these are always the hardest to bid, right? I much prefer like, you know, a descending wedge or something like that, or like something that gives you a lower time frame consolidation, like a small downtrend on lower time frame like this. You know, you have a little downtrend in here, and then when that ends, that's kind of your trigger. But when you're just going upwards accumulation, it's kind of tricky because all you can really do is continue buying the higher lows, right? While everyone's waiting for that flush, sometimes that's the only move you have. So that's kind of what we did. That's kind of what we did here, right? We had like an upwards accumulation, and you didn't really get a chance. All you could do is buy a higher low. You didn't really get a little downtrend to do anything. So maybe we get the same thing. I don't know. I'm just trying to present as many scenarios as possible here. How are you buying extreme degen coins and watching Bitcoin at the same time? I mean, what else can I do, right? I want to be in the degen coins, but you can't ignore Bitcoin either, right? Like if Bitcoin pukes back to 22K, it doesn't really matter what the narrative is for any of these coins I'm in. Like all the ordinal stuff, it's gonna puke. Most likely. If Bitcoin pukes, this shit is gonna puke and hard. The flip side of that is nothing changes about the narratives. You know, nothing changes about the Revest narrative, the Wazzer narrative, the Ordinals narrative. But if Bitcoin pukes, people lose money on their Bitcoin. They go, shit, I'm losing money on these positions. I gotta take my gains where I actually have them. So they go to the shit that's already pumped, and they say, well, I didn't want to take profits up here, but, you know, I'll take profits down here because, I'm losing money on Bitcoin or whatever, you know? And that's when you can come in and get a nice steal on some of this stuff. Two wolves living in him. One has really smart analysis. The other buys BTC. I mean, that is just a fact, man. And have 30%. That's not my fault, dude. They went up crazily. All right, they were small positions. They went up crazily. And for me, the narrative has not reached fruition, right? Like these went up, obviously. You know, this went up from 1,000 to 13,000. It's gonna pull back. Like it's just how it goes. Already we've seen a 50% pullback. That's just how it goes. You know, it happened over and over. You can't even tell back here, but this was a 50% pullback, right? This was a 50% pullback. 50% pullback. It's just going to happen over and over, and it'll happen again if Bitcoin pukes. But for me, this narrative is extremely fresh, and neither of these platforms, BTC, Ordinex, I'm sure there's a couple others that are starting to try and build. None of them have done what they said they're going to do yet. There's no NFT platform marketplace live. So for me, this narrative is still getting started. So I'm happy to just be long this and when the uptrend actually fails in the future, then I can cut it. But until we get some more information on the platforms and all that, I think this is still extremely early. I'm happy to just hold on to these. These were really small bets in the end anyways. So, if I lose them, not really that big of a deal. Spend a ton of time doing FANT to build my long-term bags. Got from just a little blur drop. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't try hard farming it either, dude. I didn't even think it was going to be that big of an event. And then it comes out and it's basically billion-dollar wealth generation out of nowhere. Kind of like the Uniswap airdrop. But of course, all the airdrops that I end up farming, they don't give you a volume or transaction-based airdrop. They give you 400 Uniswap coins. Oh, you traded $10 billion, you get 400 Uniswap coins. It's like you traded $5, you get 400 Uniswap coins. But now, of course, the one I don't go hard on, Blur, you trade $10 million NFTs, you get $100,000. So maybe I should have been flipping around NFTs more, but whatever. I accept that NFTs are not my strong suit. The only NFT project I'm really committed on is Parallel. And that's partially because I have exposure to Prime and Prime keys, but it's really the only one I feel like I know. CryptoPunks, Penguins, whatever, all that stuff, I'm just not familiar with it. So it's not my forte. I have no sense being that involved in it, Yep, that's how it goes, homie. I'm curious how this second season, though, dude, I feel like I'm talking about a video game. I'm curious how the second season of the Blur farming actually goes. I got a feeling it's not going to be as crazy as a drop as this one. It'll probably be like an Echo airdrop. Oh, excuse me. I try to mute the mic when I'm about to blow my nose, but sometimes I just can't be bothered. Exactly, yeah. Blur Season Pass 2. Oh, yeah. You guys buy the Season Pass? Give me some new skins, bro. Yeah. Anyways, to finish up on BTC. Not really too much more to say. Above 23.7 is very good. Below there is not so good. One, because now we're going to we'll have a lower high and a lower low if we go below there. And we're going to re-enter this range here and potentially re-enter the entire range of the last year, basically. So below 23.7, not that good. Definitely looking at least range lows if that happens. And then we also got to be more cautious about a lower high after that. And trend continuation of this downtrend if we nuke below 23.7. So that's definitely what to be most cautious of. But I still think that this dip is going to be worth a bid. But you just got to be cautious at the underside of what we're calling support now. If we come back up towards it, we have to be cautious there until we're back above it and making higher lows and all that stuff. Okay, and then as long as we stay above it, first target's around 26K. And then if we can hold, again, 23.7 after that, then next target is 28 to 32. Okay, and then in between that, of course, I'm going to still be trying to get long a few different narratives. One narrative is GameFi, and WASDR is my main spot exposure for that. I have a few seed sales I'm involved in that are GameFi, so I'm not too worried about having a big spot bag. I feel like I have good long-term exposure to GameFi. But I did want to bag of this because $8 million market cap. I know these guys have hundreds of thousands of users already. The parent company behind WASDR is really big, so I expect this long-term to do very well. And it's been going sideways for over a year in this range. So maybe that goes on another 2, 3, 6 months, but eventually I think WASDR expansion is going to be at least a 10x from where we're sitting at now. So I got exposure to GameFi there. Revest, this is kind of my low cap LSD narrative. Liquid staking derivatives, I believe that's what that stands for. But Revest is definitely a new technological development that can benefit that. Basically, you can get yield before you've actually earned it. I believe that's how it works, using fungible NFTs or fractional NFTs, something like that. I don't know. I did a deep dive in the tech of Revest back in 2021. And I know it's good tech, so I haven't really done a redive, but I'm sure it's improved since then too. But anyways, that's kind of my LSD narrative exposure. And then of course, I've been talking about it nonstop the last few days, but OBTC and Ordinex is my Ordinals Bitcoin NFT narrative coins, right? And so I'm happily exposed to these. Probably will not add on the dip. My like old boy pointed out, right now this is like 30% of my portfolio simply because it has gone up so much in just 2 or 3 short days. So not going to be adding to that, but at the same time, I de-risked a little bit of Ord. Where was it? It was actually a really pretty good sale up here, I believe, last night, because I wanted to buy some new shitcoin, Raider Inu or something. I'm not mentioning that in the chat because it's so cheap. But yeah, I de-risked a little bit just to de-risk, play it safe, whatever. But I don't really plan on touching Ordinex or OBTC until their platforms start to get some real development, until there's a lot of good news coming out about them. I think they have a lot of upside left. Ordinex at only, this is not even true, Ordinex at 8 million, but circulating supply is actually only 60%. So it's really like $5 million market cap. For me, for the first Bitcoin NFT marketplace, that's cheap. Whether Ordinex goes first or OBTC or something else, the successful Bitcoin marketplace for NFTs will be huge. 50 million, 100 million, 500 million, $1 billion market cap. I have no doubt about it. Is it going to be one of these two? I don't know, but I'm going to own both of them. If another one launches, I'm going to try and get some of that too, right? Because one of them is going to be big. And ideally, if one of them goes to $500 million market cap, the cheap ones like this will probably follow. If Ordinex goes to 500 million, OBTC probably goes to 100 million or something like that, right? So I think they're going to follow along. So I'm going to hold these. $1 million market cap for this one, 5 million for this one. There's nothing for me to do right now. I'm just waiting it out, and we'll see how those go. How is Revest LSD? Well, you can lock up, I believe you can lock up anything into their protocol as an NFT, and you can trade around the rights to that yield that it earns. Something like that, I think. Again, you had to go and read their documents. It's a bit confusing and it's very new, so you're gonna have to big brain it a little bit. But I big brained it back here, and now I'm kind of small braining it and not researching it and just simply aping the chart. To be honest with you, but it is definitely involved in the LSD narrative, and most people don't know about this project. I mean, I can't recall 10 people I've seen talk about Revest, maybe 5. And big reason for that is they do not have a good marketing strategy. At least if, maybe they're holding off until a later date and they want to start marketing, whatever. But so far, Revest's marketing is horrendous. Let me pull up actually the info on the LSD. I think it's called Resonance. Revest Resonance. Am I spelling that wrong? Maybe it's not Resonance. Maybe it's... Is it? I think it is Resonance. Hold on. Oh, it's Resonate. Yeah, Resonate is their new... I don't think it's a platform. I think it's a protocol. That's what I'm looking for. The new protocol that I believe is like LSD narrative. Anyways, it's basically like DeFi. You're swapping around DeFi yield, right? So you can trade the rights to yield, if that makes sense, right? So if you have the rights to 30% APY or whatever, you can trade that around, which I don't know. I think is a really cool technological development. Will I be using it? I don't know. But I think there's a lot of people that will. So, anyways, that's why I'm involved in that one. Thoughts on Looks? I still hold my Looks airdrop. I think that we got. I don't know if it was an airdrop or something, but I definitely had exposure to Looks at some point. I don't think I have very much. Let me check. Where is it? Yeah, I got like $1,000 in looks that I've just been staking on their platform forever. I got like $50 in staking rewards. It's pretty shitty, but I'm just holding it for now. Let's see what the chart looks like. I haven't looked at it in, I don't know, since it came out. Pretty good liquidity. What's the market cap of this one? And do people use looks? Holy shit, it's $100 million market cap. That's crazy. I guess it's bugged out. Here we go. I don't know. I mean, it looks okay. I'll be honest though, this kind of looks like this. I wouldn't say it looks fantastic, to be honest. You know, if this was like a low cap shitcoin, sure. You know, you could just be, you know, bidding in here. You know, it's 5 million, 3 million, $2 million market cap, and then you basically just hold to zero. Either it lifts off someday or it doesn't. But this one's pretty high market cap, and I'm not sure about the unlock schedule and all that stuff, the distribution, how that's going to work out. So I can't comment too much on this one just because I don't really keep up with it, but just strictly looking at the chart, doesn't look great, but the current uptrend is still valid, right? This was the downtrend right here, and right now this uptrend is still intact. So as long as you continue to hold, you know, around 15-20 cents, I think it looks fine. But definitely not my favorite looking project. What's up, buddy? Hey, buddy. Oh, I need a cat cam for my stream. He's telling me I'm freaking hungry, man. Why haven't you fed me today? We got a stream, pal. But yeah, fundamentally, I mean, isn't this like an NFT marketplace? Fundamentally, NFT marketplace is a good narrative right now with how hype Blur is. But so, you know, I'm sure this will echo that, but I'm just not sure the chart looks that great. Nor am I familiar with the unlock schedule, so I can't really say too much more about it. How's Bitcoin holding up? Looks okay. Not that bad. Oh my gosh. Scared the shit out of me. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm going to take an aside from crypto for a moment. I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but I'm pretty sure for the first time ever that there is a possum living in my attic. And y'all, if you have not heard the sound of a possum screaming, protecting its territory, it is absolutely terrifying. Especially when it happens in pitch black at 2 a.m. and it sounds like it's right next to your face. Let me see if I can pull up a clip. It is honestly terrifying, but okay, I'm going to play a sound. Just heads up. If you don't want to hear it, just go ahead and mute your sound for a moment. And it might be stupid loud too. I have no idea what the sound is like for the stream, but this is what I heard for those of you that ever want to listen. Okay, well, that sounds more like a wham, but anyways, it was like, it started with like a hiss, like, and then it was just like the loudest scream you could ever imagine coming from 10 feet above your head in the ceiling. Absolutely. And it was 2 a.m. Like, it was fucking terrifying, dude. It was just like, it sounded like someone screaming bloody murder. And I was literally grabbing a box of Frosted Flakes out of the pantry. And I'm like, I hear the hissing. You know, like if you guys have ever had like a really loud speaker and nothing's playing, but you turn it all the way up, it has like that white noise sound like that. That's what it started off. It sounded like someone started the speaker, like, and after 2 seconds, it just screamed, dude. I just stood still. I was shook. I went and grabbed my Glock, and I was like, my girlfriend was out there, and she heard it too. I was like, what the fuck was that, dude? Because we've had talks with each other that maybe someone's living in our attic, because we've heard noises up there before, like But we've gone in there, you know, I've had electrical workers in there, I've had people working on cameras and stuff in there. No one's ever seen anything, a pillow, a scratch, nothing. But we hear things, dude, and then all of a sudden a bloody murder scream out of nowhere. I mean, I was about ready to move. About ready to say, hey, Georgia's not the place to be. I'm out. But anyways, my girlfriend convinced me, like, hey, it's just a possum, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, of course, it's just a possum. Yeah, of course, because that's what a possum sounds like, apparently. But anyways, it was actually terrifying. I'm not trying to come off like a bitch or anything, but oh my gosh, dude, it was actually terrifying. Oh my goodness. But anyways, I guess I've pretty much covered what I wanted to. Oh, we can look at Woo Trade too. I haven't done a Woo Trade top down in a while. So much like Bitcoin, Woo Trade looks very good on the monthly. Let's get rid of some of this. This was the previous downtrend that price was in. Right, and now we've kind of escaped that with this new uptrend. I'm sure we're trending above the monthly 8 EMA, yep, which is around 21 cents. So we'd like to see price hold around 20 cents. Something like that for Woo Trade, right? That lines up with the weekly 8 EMA. And below that, and we run the risk of this uptrend turning into, I'm about to sneeze. Oh my gosh. Nope. Nope, here we go. Nah, I got bait at the end, damn. We run the risk of a new intermediate term downtrend starting, much like Bitcoin, with this fresh weekly cycle down, right? Momentum reset back to zero, something like that. So if you start to lose 20 cents on Woo Trade, definitely play a little bit cautious. But until then, it's got a really clean trend on the daily. So, you know, ideally, Woo will just continue like this. Something like that. So if you're long Woo, I think it's okay to stay long and strong as long as we're trending above 20 cents. I actually don't have a position right now, but it's definitely one I want to be building a position for the long term. So definitely we'll keep looking at that all every stream, but it looks pretty good. Outside of that, I mean, there's a few other coins that look good here. Oh, someone said thoughts on Blur. I didn't actually ever look at the chart. I have not looked at the Blur chart even a single time. I sold my airdrop at like $1 and pissed off. I mean, it looks pretty clean, actually. I mean, this looks pretty good. I don't know. I'm definitely of the camp that this continues to go up because most people are of the camp that, oh, it's a bunch of free money. Everyone's gonna sell their free money. Everyone's gonna dump their airdrop. There's no way it goes up, and I kind of get that. Like, it's already $3 billion project or whatever. But if Cardano, garbage, does nothing, hits $50 billion, fully diluted really doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Like, if that can do it, if XRP can do it, if Stellar Lumens and all these Doge, all these projects that are just don't really do that much, if they can all hit that, sure. I don't see why one of the most successful NFT marketplaces, the only competition to OpenSea, in my opinion, the only real competition, OpenSea, and the first one with a popular token, I think that could hit $5, maybe even $10 billion. I don't see why not. So I'm definitely of the camp that this holds. Anyways, above 115, very bullish. Below 115, you have to be careful because then we're going to have continuation of this downtrend, right? And maybe, oh, it just runs the lows and reclaims. Sure, maybe. But I'd rather just be getting long in here, right, than having to pray that this is not the new trend, right? So above 115, very nice. I'd be targeting, like 145 and then around $2. And then just, see if you have to kind of watch the euphoria of people in this narrative. I don't really follow that many people that talk about this, but for the last week, I mean, this has been 80% of my feed. Blur. Oh, those allergies, dude. So, yeah, I mean, it still looks pretty solid. So you retire off it. Yeah, I mean, if you have $1,000 in here now, you're probably going to be able to retire off this. Absolutely. But, oh, another coin I like, GMX, obviously. You know, talked about GMX being a big, nice, strong coin back here in the 40s, 50s, and of course, you know, this was my biggest position, my escrow GMX, up until these like ordinal projects took off. This is my biggest position outside of that. So I still think this is probably one of the best platforms in crypto. You just got to watch on lower time frames, right? If we start to crack mid 70s, I could definitely see us dropping back towards low 60s on GMX. But that should be a really healthy bid back down here if we do get an intermediate term downtrend on Bitcoin. So definitely keep your eyes on GMX. I think it's one of the best things to be a buyer on dips. But you definitely want to have a little bit of a wide risk on it. You know, like risk would definitely be a close below like mid 50s, right? So, you know, can average in on the way down. And then when this downtrend, when this downtrend reverts, then you can start to hit it, you know, kind of hard. Okay, so that's a good one. Frax, I think I've seen a lot of people talking about this. I think this is a maybe part of the LSD narrative with Lido and all that stuff. So good tech, but I would not really want to be involved in. I always call it Fraxis because that's how the ticker looks like it would be pronounced. I don't know how it's Frax share, I think it is. Below $9 though, don't like it. Do not like it. So Chainlink, everyone loves Chainlink. World's most boring coin for the last year. I do believe there will be a hate pump on Chainlink because it's done this for so long that it's kind of like you're long Chainlink, bro. Bro, what are you doing? There's no catalyst for Chainlink. There's no vibe there anymore, right? Chainlink's dead now. Blah 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 blah. Chainlink already ran. So I definitely think there could be a good kind of hate pump on Chainlink up towards mid-teens, but I genuinely don't think Chainlink is going to outperform anything in the near term. So not really that focused on that one. MATIC, very good. One of the best charts in crypto. One of the only charts that's actually pushing back towards its March 22 highs. So definitely one I want to be a buyer on dips. And this actually has a few good catalysts, I believe, coming up in the spring. So definitely want to keep your eyes on. Optimism still looks pretty good, right? As long as it holds around $2, I'd say Optimism still looks pretty good for longs. Anywhere below that, you know, we might have a new downtrend. So definitely cautious below there. I was long 30% portfolio in Link, sold when all positions. Yeah, that's how it goes. And then of course, you know, once everyone sells, once everyone's accepted, Chainlink is not gonna pump like other stuff. Well, that's when Chainlink will have its 100% pump in a week or something, you know. But how long do you want to wait for that to happen? You know, how much will be missed before that happens? I don't know. The Linkies are crazy, so you know. What, Link Marines? That's what they used to be called. The Link Marines. Those guys are crazy, so who knows if that'll pump. Sergey, pump my bags. You know, all that shit. Let's close this. But that's a great way to put it, man. There's better money allocation than Link. Yep. Just like, you know, what's something good tech-wise from 2017 that's still around but did not mega pump again? What's some good tech? I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that was really big. And anyways, a lot of stuff that was really, really big, had an insane run one cycle, will not have as crazy a run as the next cycle. And then, of course, there's outliers to this. Of course, like Aave had a really great 2017 cycle. Right? Basically, you can't even tell from the chart, but basically went from 0 all the way up like a bajillion X. It was crazy. And then it still went on, and then the next bull run went up 50,000% against Bitcoin, which went up like 20x. So you'll still have coins that can have multiple insane cycles, but they have to play it right. You know, Aave pivoted, or I think it was Lend back then, pivoted to DeFi really well before really anyone else did, other than like, you know, YFI and all those projects, right? They were really early to that shift, and it paid off. So Chainlink's got to be doing something like that. Obviously, a lot of these new protocols, they're using Chainlink, they're using the oracles and stuff like that, but there needs to be a narrative for the coin to pump, right? And so far, not really seeing that other than, you know, it's kind of breaking out a little bit. XRP. Yes. Thank you. How am I forgetting that one? Let's go look at the Poloniex chart. Right? Absolutely fantastic example. Okay, went up absolutely bajillion percent, almost 100,000%. And then this cycle, it didn't make a new high. It really just echoed. Still a great pump. I mean, 15x in a bull market is not bad. Nothing to scoff at. But, you know, I mean, if you guys were involved in this, I mean, 15x is kind of not the best, right? I mean, Bitcoin, for goodness sake, I think did more than that. Right? I mean, Bitcoin went up the same as XRP. So if you're just performing the same as Bitcoin, why are you bothering with the stress of being an altcoin? You know, like, I'm not going to say 15x is not good returns in a year or two. Obviously, that's good returns. But if Bitcoin can do that and you hold anything of even moderate value, it should go up higher and harder than Bitcoin did, you know? So I mean, yeah, that, you know, if that happens, then we can all make fun of me, right? But I don't know. I know you're just memeing, but I'm just not really seeing it. Come on, Bitcoin. Come on, Bitcoin. See, here's what we do. When it looks kind of gross, all you do is you go up one time frame, and all of a sudden, wow, we're holding the bands perfectly. This is looking good. That's a little EMA strat for you guys. If your EMAs don't fit, just go to a higher time frame. Fit the narrative. Simple as that. I will say what I've been seeing lately is, I don't know if it's one entity or a group or something, but some people are trying to short the shit out of this, and they are getting blown out over and over. And I don't know why. I don't know why they're shorting the shit out of it. I guess because, oh, we're coming up to this big weekly level, gotta short the shit out of it. Can't just be in cash, right? Gotta also be leveraged short. Those guys are what's keeping this going, in my opinion. USDTD. What is that? Is that the Tron? Or is that Bitcoin? Is that Bitcoin dominance? What is USDTB? It is USDD. It is dominance. Okay. I have not looked at this chart in. Oh, I'm thinking of Bitcoin dominance. I've not looked at Bitcoin or US. I don't know if I've ever looked at USDT dominance, but I've not looked at Bitcoin dominance in ages. So I guess this represents, you know, when it goes up, people are stabling up, right? Is that what I should be inferring here? And when it goes down, people are moving their stables and other stuff. Maybe, I guess. Maybe I'm left curving this one. I'm not getting it, but I think going down is good. It's inverse to BTC. Oh, it's inverse to BTC. Gotcha. So, I mean, yeah, then I guess this chart would be pretty nice, right? I mean, right? Basically been pumping since the 70K Bitcoin high, and now we're starting to roll over. Nice. Yes. Feed me the hopium right into my veins. Love that. We should add this to. The list. USTDD. Nice. Very cool. Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Let's throw some alerts on here so we can track it. Why has this started to show up? I never had that before. You guys had that lately? If you have log on, it starts to it warns you that they're not going to work right, your alerts. Anyways, whatever. All right, my cat is going crazy, so I probably got 15 minutes left here. Let's see, anything else? Nothing else I really want to look at on the high cap side of things. We can look at anything you guys want to. My main focus right now is really just trying to ride a Bitcoin and Ethereum and a MATIC long, as long as these uptrends are looking good, and then just seeing how far I can milk this Ordinals narrative. These things might fully retrace. These things might rug to zero. I don't know. But I'm betting big, and I'm going to hold strong on these. And, you know, just see where we come out. Even my swap is up 9x. Ooh, really? MMY, is that mommy? Mummy, huh? Mummy finance. Yeah, we did look at this one, didn't we? Did we look at it after it broke out, maybe? Or did we look at it back here? Regardless, really nice. I mean, if you were involved in that, big ups to you. And it's still not even $10 million market cap. Looked at it at 1 mil. Damn, we looked at it at the Pico bottom.
Alex?
What's up, team? Sorry about that. Yeah, no, this looks really damn good. I mean, congrats to you if you nailed this one. I'm not sure on the whole value prop of it, so I don't really know. I don't really have much of an opinion on it here. I mean, obviously the market clearly values it higher, but can trade with leverage straight from DeFi wallet. Oh, that's nice. So kind of like GMX. That's pretty cool. ACH Alchemy Pay. What are you talking about? Ooh, that's a nice looking chart. What the heck happened here? Holy shit. Went from 1/10 of a cent. That's 16 cents, dude. Oh my gosh. On massive $2 billion volume. What is this? It's on Binance. Why have I never heard of this? I mean, the chart looks fantastic. It looked absolutely amazing. I mean, shoot, I would say you get any kind of retests back in this region, probably worth the bid on this one, as long as you're holding above like 1.5. I mean, this looks really good. I don't, what is this? $300 million market cap. What is it? Bridging the fiat and global crypto economies. Ugh, I don't like the website very much. Roger Ver. Ugh. Ooh, this is good though. This is good. I mean, seems like some big guys are involved in this. Powering this stuff. I mean, wow. It looks like it's got a lot going for it. I mean, yeah, I guess just, you know, the big guys are in this. Just follow the leader, right? I would be happy to accumulate this on any kind of dips. Any dips back towards 1.5 or 2, I think, are worth the bid. And your risk is a, you know, higher time frame close below 1.5. Partnership with Visa. Damn. I'll be damned. I definitely had to add that to the list. Good eyes, mate. Good eyes. Throw that right there. USDT. Throw that at the top. Okay. Yeah, good eyes. I haven't heard of that one before, but that seems very, very nice. Let's see, what else? Am I missing anything big? We didn't look at Lido yet. I mean, you know, what's to really talk about? Pretty much nailed this dip perfectly, and then took profits too early, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. And now we've ran the highs, so that's kind of rough. I'd say if we can close above 325, then this looks ripe to go much higher. What's the peak? Where can I get the peak for this? Is it Gemini? Gemini's got $5. Let's see what we have though. I'm sure the peak was higher than that. $7, right? $7. Okay. So long term, I mean, Lido looks very nice here. I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of aping right into resistance, but if we get acceptance above 325, I mean, I could easily see this running up towards $5, right? And it's one of the strongest narratives right now. And in addition to that, it's basically been, I mean, it's had some huge shifts, you know, 50 cents to $7, big shifts, but really, it's just range bound, right? It's just been sideways mostly for the better part of 2 years, right? So, you know, there's a lot of big expansion to be had here, and there's a stupid amount of Ethereum locked up in it too. So, it's definitely up there in coins I'd like to have a position in, along with MATIC and WooTrade, but I don't believe I'll be aping at resistance right here. But it does look very good for the long term. But anyways, I think I'm gonna have to call it there, guys. I do appreciate you all tuning in, keeping the chat lively, and all that good stuff. Listening to my horror story from last night. But I will try to have a video update out either tomorrow or Tuesday, depending on if nothing really changes the next day. I probably won't do it tomorrow, but tomorrow or Tuesday I'll have a video update, and I'll talk about my positions and all that good stuff. And if you guys have any questions, you know, I'm in the chat 24/7. You can always hit me up on Twitter, what have you. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. You know, the stream wouldn't be anything without the stream viewers. So thanks much to you guys, and I will catch you on the next stream. Appreciate it. Peace.